So I was born in Guyana, South America. I grew up mainly in the country areas of Guyana. My mom was an avid Seventh-day Adventist church member. She attended church. She was very, very involved in Sabbath school, Dorcas, or community service. She loved God with all her heart. And I saw her served in various areas of the church, and I kind of followed her footsteps. I think I became aware of God and what He can do at the age of 8. When my mom told me that you can pray about anything. You can tell God anything that you need. You can talk to Him as a friend. After graduating, I became a probation officer. I was the youngest probation officer in the ministry at that time. And I got to work with young people. I got to work with families. I got to work with people in the judicial system, magistrates, judges. And it was one of a experience of a lifetime. My mom was saying, hey, she wanted me to come to Barbados so I can find a husband. But I didn't find any husbands. I had gotten engaged once and it didn't work out. Of course, my heart was broken. But of course, God has always been there. He's always been faithful. And then I met my husband. We met through the introduction of a mutual friend. We went to the 2010 General Conference. That was our first date. Our second date was December of that same year. And then we got married the summer of 2011. So we just didn't date very long. When Peter and I got married and we came to America, I didn't have a job. I couldn't work because we were on student visas. And it doesn't allow us to work. We would be breaking the rules and the laws. So I stayed at home, cook, clean, did laundry, do the usual things a housewife did. And at first it was okay, but then I began feeling as though like I've lost myself. Because before I got married, I was independent. I had my own car, I had a job, and I worked. And, I had family around. I didn't have a husband or boyfriend. I had my sister and my brother because we lived together. So I had community. But when we came to the States, I don't have any relatives here except one aunt, and she's in Pennsylvania. So I was just Peter I had. So when Peter is gone, I felt as though there's nothing for me to do. I didn't feel productive. I didn't feel as though I was making a difference. Like nothing was really meaningful. So I felt like I've lost my identity. And many times like, who am I? Who have I become? Well, God, what am I to do? I am at home. There has to be much more than cooking and cleaning and doing the laundry. I want to do something that is different. And inside of me, you're torn because this is what you can do, but this is what you are doing, nothing. Then eventually it was time for me to start working. I got a work visa, and then we applied for the green card. And then I was able to actively be involved in church. Our pastor in the church said, hey, we're looking for a director. Would you want to be a director? I'm like, well, maybe now it's time God wants me to work. My time of being at home, not being able to serve in church, has come to an end, and now it's time for me to work. I'm like, yes, I'm going to take it. But then COVID hit. My dreams and hopes for the Pathfinder Club got kind of put down for a while because you couldn't go out camping, you couldn't do anything. But in spite of that, the club grew. And it was really, really good. And then God called my husband to be pastor at Norwalk. And I was very, very disappointed. I was not ready to leave because I felt as though my work had not finished, like I hadn't accomplished the things I wanted to accomplish. So when we came to Norwalk, I was a bit unsettled in my heart. But when we're following God, we have to trust where we can see Him. We follow Him by faith, not by where we can see. And when we came to Norwalk, I saw that there's so much that could be done, that needs to be done. And it so happened, I'm like, okay, God, I'm not going to resist anymore. I'm just going to accept your will. And quite rest assured, there's a lot of work here in Norwalk to do. And I'm like, hey, let's start with a pantry. And that's when the action really, really began. One way I've seen God work with me and through me is the food pantry here at Norwalk. I love to serve. I'm a social worker by profession. And I believe that's my gift. That's what God has called me to do. And I enjoy serving. I enjoy seeing what was and what could be and what will become, making a difference in the lives of people, in places and spaces. Some choices we make that looks hard at the moment always turns out to be something that is good for us and brings glory for God. And God has used that experience to teach me that, hey, there's choices we have to make that is tough. But at the end of it, we have to trust Him that it's going to work out, that it's going to be for our good and for His glory. While I knew God as a child, while I knew God and understand and see how He worked and answered prayers as a teenager through my mom, while I knew God as a young adult, studying, seeing Him help me through studies and then get married. He found me a husband, but at this stage of my life, I feel as though it's time for me to shed some old leaves, shed some old ways of thinking, of being. It's been a little rough because growth is not easy, it's painful. But He is doing His work and creating a beautiful person out of me as I go through this transition.